Front, you got your finger in the front always.
Yeah, it's not on the last one.
Okay, ready? So let's talk about whenever you show up at any job site, whether you're 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, 7 guys. And sometimes it is 7 guys because you're going to be here with labor-ready guys. But right now today, the norm is when you're doing structural or doing a paint job, the system is always the same. You always need to have scaffolding. We didn't have this hole in the ground. Why scaffolding? Yeah.
Set it up underneath.
Why? You said it's safer. Dan, step in here and tell us why. Now grab your book because you're going to write some of this stuff down. This is stuff that you're going to listen to right away because somebody has the answer. And if he doesn't have the answer, he's going to have the answer. You guys just listen in as to why. Every job we set up, we have a paint station. Why? Show the paint station.
Containment.
That's just for containment.
We had a $120,000 Range Rover that was parked there. Again, any spillage, any...
Right, so it's containment.
Is it
Safety.
the staging or the paint setup?
No, the staging. Why the
It's
staging?
supposed to have 2 sets of bakers. It's supposed to have a rolling set,
Right, what's on the paint
which you'd
Yeah.
use if this was a superstructure or something. You could have the bakers up there. You could be wheeling it back and forth.
You're going wrong. So every job we ever get to, this job right here,
It's supposed to have a bakers underneath. It's a safe platform to work from. The paint master can always jump up. It's a safe platform for him to work underneath. Well, he can jump down and feed guys there.
right? So every job, you always have one setup. If it's an uneven thing, you can't have it on wheels. But if it's a nice cement platform, so Andre, why one scaffolding set up just for the paint master? Always at every job, whether it's a single balcony or a long balcony. Why?
For the ground guy?
To do what?
This is the ground guy, so we can do the painting and the
Listen,
bolts
I
of
know you're talking
opportunity
about
opportunity up there. Underneath the first balcony. That's why it's set up down there.
I mean, I could do bolts of opportunity off a ladder.
No. Listen. Every job you ever get to, the paint master always sets up rolling scaffolding underneath or a baker. Because some of your first floors are only 10 feet off the ground. This is much higher, so this is not a norm. But imagine this was only 10 feet and you put in baker
It's 10
or
to 14.
scaffolding on rollers. Why? Why does the paint master, who as soon as you got to the job site,
It's a safe platform for the paint master to work
Oh, I've said that.
They do bolts of opportunity and painting as well, being close to the ground. You can always jump down to the ground because, like in this system here, you have a fold-out ladder for him to be climbing up and down.
well, that's true. So let's start. You just rolled in with your truck. Everybody starts getting out of the truck and you start setting up your boxes. You start pulling up boxes. You set up your paint station. The first guy you get up and you're not even set up yet. What's the first guy you get up on? So what do? You get all these stuff coming out. The doctor's already putting on his harness. He's already stepping into his stuff, and you're making a very quick, paint or bolt setup for him.
Call it
And
5K
you got one
mechanic
extension
setup.
cord that's, you got all your extension cords coming out of the back.
If I can add to that. The pro is stepping out with his pro box, just like these guys have. Our pro boxes are a little bit bigger. They get themselves already suited up, getting their orange bucket going, getting their bucket up, their tote up there. They're already up there. They're already breaking bolts.
No, not they. You're saying the wrong word. It's not they.
Him. If you had a 6-man team or a 5-man team, it
So
might be
you
they.
barely got the stuff out of the box, and the paint master and the nurse did what? Is getting who in the air?
Not the doctor, the guy making the most money.
So
up
that
there,
doctor's
breaking
getting that
bolts.
ladder, and you're
Donuts.
setting him up on top with a gorilla ladder or this ladder, and you're setting him up there. He's already harnessed. You're already giving him his bolts, his grinder, and one extension cord. Because have you even run the Christmas tree yet?
No.
Have you unloaded all the truck yet? Have you set up all the stuff yet?
No.
Who's helping you?
Questions?
I know. It's a paint master.
But I
I'm
still haven't
training.
gotten the answer to the original question.
Yeah, getting to it, but what's the question?
Why did you put a baker under first?
I'm gonna get to that. So right now you've got your doctor up there, and he's got the ladder, or this bucket truck, or whatever, and who's helping you get everything out? The nurse. So the nurse is helping you get all the boxes out, open up all the boxes, helping you run some of the extension cords, helping you run to the pulley system, right?
Not helping the doctor?
He's not helping the doctor. Doctor's already got everything he needs. And should the doctor yell, what's the doctor have? His own personal bucket on a little string that he can pull up anything he needs. Otherwise,
The nurse can always drop what he's doing, though, and make sure the doctor has
exactly.
that.
But the nurse is helping you get everything out of the truck, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden now everything is out of the truck. The extension cord is, the Christmas tree is being set up, even though the guy's running on a single line. You got the Christmas tree set up. And all of a sudden now you're starting to get a situation on who's the next one you get up in the air.
The nurse.
The nurse. So now you get the nurse up there, and the nurse is above or below. If he's
Nurse is
underneath
up-
here, do you want to put the nurse underneath there? Is that what
I
you
want
want?
to put it above the doctor.
Why?
Help you so we can assist the doctor.
Because the nurse does things like treads. Doctor does what? Supports,
structural.
major structural.
Major structural.
And the nurse does what?
Railings,
stringer
minor,
clips.
minor structural.
Oh, you want the nurse to do the railings?
No, that would be a
No.
bolt of opportunity.
So
maybe,
what's the
right?
nurse usually do?
Stringers,
Stairs,
steps.
stringers, steps. Why? Because if the nurse keeps doing all the railing bolts, what happens?
No bolts of opportunity for the paintmaster.
For the paymaster. You gotta leave the easy stuff for the kids, right? Right? So now all of a sudden, now the doctor's up there, got everything he needs. If there's anything the doctor needs, who helps him out now?
The nurse.
The nurse yells down to who's down here?
The paintmaster.
And says, what I need bolts, I need this, and what's the paymaster do?
Gonna get it for him.
Stops whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
The doctor, I mean the paintmaster's still setting up the stations, getting more buckets of paint ready, more things ready, more bolts and tool separating, whatever. All of a sudden now the paintmaster sets up a scaffolding down here and he starts on this side of it. And that scaffolding is 5 feet tall because it's 10 foot high.
Just to clarify, if you are bringing in labor ready or something, or we're doing a major scrape, this would all be getting done an hour before your labor ready guys even.
We're not even labor. That's good. Hold your labor. No, we're not even there yet. Wait, the laborers are coming, like you said, laborers are going to come 1 to 2 hours later. You never bring labor ready right away because there's too many kids running around with snots and boogers and shitting themselves. You know what I'm saying? You don't want any kids. So all of a sudden now,
Get a lot of guys.
you just finished setting up, the doctor and the nurse are working, and anything they need, you stop whatever you're doing. And you keep them going because they're slow and they're making you the most money. They're now running around, they're doing structural, cement, caulking and painting. Will a doctor leave his position if he's not done? 100% with all the structural, right? Because you set up that ladder once. He will not leave until he's done with all the structural, he's done with all the caulking, he's done with all the cement, and he's done with all the painting. So how long is he going to be in that nest?
For a while.
4 hours? 3 hours?
Depending, yeah.
Yeah. He's not going anywhere fast. So if he gets thirsty, who gives him the water?
Nurse.
The paymaster sends it up to the nurse, and the nurse goes, there you go, you look thirsty, right? Because the one that's running around on the bolts up above, up below, underneath, whatever is the nurse, right? But you've just set up your scaffolding down here. Because that belongs to the paintmaster. So all of a sudden everybody's busy. What's the paintmaster now do? All your boxes are correct. Everybody's got water, everybody's got bolt, everybody got paint. I'm ready. 3-man team only. Now what are you gonna do?
Bolt of opportunity.
So what's a bolt of opportunity? You're gonna climb up the ladder and join the nurse? Is that what you wanna do?
I'll get on the staging and do
You get on the staging down here, and you get up and you start working on some cement. You start working on some bolt. Why? Who's gonna authorize you? Who's gonna be nearby to authorize you to touch anything structural? The doctor's up in the tree.
Nurse.
The nurse is gonna come by because you're gonna ask, the paintmaster who's learning on bolts of opportunity is gonna say, hey, can I change this bolt? And the nurse will go through with you some things like, okay, what are you gonna do first? Well, I'm gonna clamp it first. What are you gonna do second? I'm gonna do this other thing second. Okay, what are you gonna do third? I'm gonna do this with a bolt. All of a sudden, once you've walked the repair through, what's the nurse say to you?
What do you gotta do? Go ahead.
Go ahead. All of a sudden, you're halfway through something, and somebody else, more paint! And you're up on the scaffolding. Now what happens?
Go get them their paint.
You know how tiring that is?
Sometimes you're lucky enough because you've already set up your paint station. You may have a manager here or something who will take over your position as paintmaster. Because
Well, you
Yeah,
do
but
it
this is
all
still a 3-man team. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because we're just on 3-man team, right? And so on this 3-man team, and you're working on bolts of opportunity, and you're caulking and you're painting, you're doing everything. All of a sudden, we're missing 3/8 bolts. 3-man team, not 4. No labor readies yet. What happens now?
somebody's gonna go get bolts.
First of all, now it's like, who's got the license? It's the first thing, like, who's got a license that they can go to Home Depot because we need bolts. But now, what's a 2-man team that used to be a 3-man team do? Because normally, who goes to get the bolts?
Paintmaster?
Paymaster, right? Grabs the keys and he goes to Home Depot to get bolts. What happens to the team now? I got a guy in the crow's nest, and I got a guy down here that's a nurse, and I got nobody on the ground station. What happens?
Manager.
How do you play shorthanded?
Manager steps in.
No, the manager's not going. This is 3-man team
Well,
only.
the answer to that
And
question-
your paymaster, you just left to go get some bolts. What do you do with a 2-man team? You keep them the way they are. You change the arrangement.
bring the nurse onto the ground?
Exactly. Now you have to make the nurse the paint master. The paint master has to come down. And what do you do to the doctor up in the crow's nest?
Nothing.
You can leave him up there, but let's say he's way high. Do you want a doctor way up high, or you want to bring him down to a place
More reasonable.
more reasonable? So a lot of times when you play shorthanded, the nurse comes down, plays paint master. Now does the nurse get on the balcony, on the bracket? I mean on the scaffolding?
Definitely sure.
Yeah.
So to sum this up in hockey terms, okay, the goalie now just came out of the net by pull. He's going to Home Depot. So the forwards and the defense are now kicking back.
Right. So now I got the doctor coming down. I have the doctor doing now nurses activities because it's safer, right? Because you always need somebody to call 911. This is all about safety. So now the doctor's no longer up on a ladder. The doctor comes out and picks up the treads, picks up the stringers, because the nurse just came down to the ground and is doing groundwork and working on the platform here, doing everything down here. And how's the rhythm going? Still making money? Whenever you're shorthanded, everybody goes up or everybody starts pulling back down.
Down.
As soon as you come back,
Back up.
as soon as you come back from Home Depot, what happens?
Back. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you would finish your move, right?
Right.
Finish what you're doing.
Finish what you're doing, play that period, and
And then go back up. and
Reset.
Reset.
now that's 3 guys, right? 3 guys down to 2. Let's go 4 guys. What happens?
4 guys?
Yeah.
The doctor stays
Same-
where he is.
Same 3 guys, but now I show up, right? Then all of a sudden I'm on the phone and I'm doing whatever.
You're going to Home Depot, right?
I go to Home Depot. What else do I do? If I can't go to Home Depot, and I want you to go.
Play paint master.
So you can play paint master.
I can
while
play
go.
paint master because I got work to do, but can I do work on the back of this truck?
Sure.
And do whatever? Am I going to get on the? Am I
Well,
gonna,
that might make more sense then.
I don't want to do that. I got where I make more money. I'm an inspector. I'm an admin guy, and I showed up because I was going to go do some inspections of the area. You want me on this thing, or you want me on this phone on the back of the truck, giving these guys water and paint?
On the phone.
Because now you as a paint master, you're moving up, you're doing railings. As these guys are, you're at the next level.
Right.
That would be up to the manager, really.
Well,
I mean,
if I make my money on the
you might
phone,
be able to make your phone calls while going to
would
Home
actually
Depot
be-
easier.
yeah, I'm saying let's say I can't go to Home Depot.
It would actually be up to the foreman because on a 3-man team, it would be a mechanic, an apprentice, and a paint master. So it was your mechanic
What are you talking about?
telling you, he'd be calling the shots. Okay.
All right. So now
Mechanic's
you've got the sense of what a 2-man team looks like, 3-man team, 4-man team. Let's make it now a 7-man team. You got Labor Ready. You got 3 guys coming from Labor Ready, and you have 3 of your normal guys. Plus you have an admin guy here on the phone. Now what do you do? What's the mix?
You have a lot. Obviously, they're not paint masters, they're not nurses, and they're definitely not doctors. So now we have a new.
So when do you bring them in? And what
We have-
time do you bring them in?
We have
7
a
o'clock in the
new
morning?
position. No, you bring them in about 9 o'clock. If you're there at
9 o'clock?
Well, if you're there at 7, then
Okay,
if you're
yeah,
there at
exactly.
8,
So,
9.
no, it's 2 hours later. So
2 hours?
you want to get them 2 hours later. You have to really be set up, dude. Because when they arrive, what do you want to put in their hands right away?
Tool.
Scrapers and
Actually, a little notebook and a pencil, golf pencil, right?
for what?
And
A Labor Ready?
You don't use with labor ready? No.
What do you want to do with Labor Ready, guys?
Get their
2 hours later,
get
they
their
show up.
asses moving.
I haven't seen us give.
Asses and elbows.
Okay, so they show up.
You have seen that.
Well, they're
This is
supposed to
mainly not at the
write
beginning
down
of a job.
an
This is when you're 3/4 of the way
8-foot
through the
base.
job already, right? You're already 3/4 of the way structurally, and you start to come down. 3 Labor Ready guys show up that day because you're in the paint mode. Where do you put them?
On safe positions, down.
Andre, catch your people
Waist,
speaking.
waist below the railings, not on ladders.
Not on ladders.
No precarious position.
And what do you want them to paint? We talked about this. What do you want them painting?
Easy stuff.
You want them to finish anything, or you want them painting anything and everything everywhere?
bulk stuff, anything and everything everywhere. But
So if a guy's in my way here and I shoot him to the other side, what do you care? What do you care if he leaves things behind? Do you care?
it doesn't matter because I'm going to be checking everything.
Right, because they'll never reach 100%.
They
A
expect
good
them to
paint
miss.
master, a good labor ready guy that goes from 50 to 75 is a fine. But on average, you're going to get 50% labor ready guys. So what do you want them to paint?
As much as possible.
As much as possible anywhere. So if you keep them moving around, so when you bring a labor ready guy, do I put one at the top with my doctor, near my doctor?
No.
Sure I do, because
Yeah?
you know who keeps it, because what's he painting?
Oh, the doctor's watching him.
I just
The doctor's eyeballing him, and what's he painting?
I just want to add.
Whatever
I just
he
want to
can.
add lib to this because your labor ready guys coming in. The paint master's really getting these guys set up, setting the tone for them, setting the pace, seeing what their skills are. They sloppy, or they just, especially when they got a roller in them. Now you're passing them off
Right.
to apprentices.
Right. So who's your
and
best? You find your best labor ready guy. Who do you give him to?
mechanics.
Doctor.
You give him to the doctor. Your second best labor ready guy. Who do you give him to?
Nurse.
And the worst scumbag out of labor ready. Where do you have him?
I'll take them.
You'll take him. Why?
So I have time and I can watch 'em.
So now you have 7 guys running on
And if
this
he's
job.
really sloppy, he's going to be down the bottom with a scraper in his
Right.
hand, or,
So you have
or
7 guys.
or sweeping the ground, doing whatever, and he's out of there after lunch. Anyways.
So right
Got nothing.
now we're going to be talking about this job. So you know what I want here. And if you don't have scaffolding, what do you use? 2 ladders and a plank?
Yeah.
We have 2 ladders and a plank here.
Jacks.
Okay. So we have 2 ladders and a plank to resolve this issue here, right? But we currently don't have it. But otherwise, I need to see my paint master situation here, because look, we have 5 guys, 6 guys here. I need an answer here today using my system.
Today's it's going to be the bucket truck.
Now listen, no, the bucket truck you can't even. No, the bucket truck is not even
In
part of
this
this system.
situation,
No,
with the
not even in
towel.
this situation. This bucket truck is a godsend. This bucket truck shows up, you are still in the same setup. I want my goalie, I want my defense, I want my offense. And what is this? This is that extra guy because they got a red card or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know what this guy is? He's everything. He's a strong defenseman. He's a forward power guy, and if need be, with his hockey stick, he'll play goalie. Why? So don't count on this guy. This is when you get lucky, you get one of these. Otherwise, play your game. Then use this
Are you
guy.
talking specifically about today?
No, not
Talking
today.
in general.
You never use this as your main. But when this shows up, it's going to get a lot of things done. And who plays with this? The doctor, the nurse, or the paint master?
Anybody who's been trained to use it properly.
And a lot of times, it's either the nurse or the doctor. Because now the nurse and the doctor will use this to do heavy-duty bolts and get everything done because he can mix. He'll get underneath here, he'll get underneath here, he'll do it over there, he'll do it over there. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because he knows how not to hurt anybody. But you put a general guy there that does no painting and he's rolling, he's gonna paint my truck.
He's gonna put the bucket into the side of the building.
He's gonna run the bucket inside the building, he's gonna run the electrical wires through the whole thing. Got it? So now that's the system that we're looking for. So it can be 2, it could be 7, and when labor ready guys come in at 10, you starting at 7, they start at 9. What time they leave?
6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours. So how many hours do you always book your labor ready guys for?
Yeah,
8 hours or 6?
We're gonna leave an hour before we do anything.
6 hours.
Always 6 hours. Now, if we do our day, which is over here, it's 2 days. We work 2 days in one day. We start at 7, we end at 7. That's 12 hours. We have a 1-hour lunch. Why?
Rest up.
Because we have a big morning, we have a big afternoon.
We're gonna need that energy.
You're gonna need that energy. So we really do 2 days worth of work in one day. Labor ready guys show up. If you're smart, you can have a labor ready group show up when you're almost all done.
I don't want to ruin your video, but it's a real hard thing to do. 6 hours, then another 6 hours in the afternoon, especially in certain areas, because you have nobody to come in on a later shift. Labor ready.
Yeah, he's
never
talking about
has-
labor ready. Sometimes we'll give it. So whenever labor ready gives you that problem, what do you use? You use them for 8 hours because you're doing 12. You use them for 4 in the morning, 1 hour lunch break, you send them away, or you feed them. What do you want to do?
It might be better if you eat them,
Why?
so they don't disappear on you.
Because sometimes
That
they'll
could be a
disappear.
good thing too, though.
It's a good thing and a bad thing. You have to keep
Good
them
thing.
I
right
was
away.
hoping they would
If
disappear.
they suck sometimes,
If
you
the
hope they
job and the
disappear.
momentum's going well,
Give them a
yes,
lunch.
sometimes we'll do a lunch because either the paint master
Keep 'em
or
going,
somebody
right?
will order lunch. It's a half-an-hour lunch, bang, we're right back into it.
No, I don't want these half-hour lunches. There's no more half-hour lunches. This is bullshit. There's no half-hour lunches. You can make a 45-minute lunch out of a 1-hour break. I don't mind that. I don't mind you guys backing up into a 45er. But stop giving me these half-hour lunches. They're useless. You need time to take a breath. You need time to have a cigarette. You need all that time. So if you don't want to take the full hour, fine. But don't give me a half hour. There's no such thing as a half-hour lunch ever. Unless you want to bring a blender, take your sandwich, throw it in the blender, throw chocolate milk, and then go, and then go, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Nobody can eat correctly. Everybody, you're giving yourself indigestion, guys. Relax. We're working 12 freaking hours here.
We took
You know
a
what I'm saying?
45 today for an example. So
Huh?
we took a 45 today for an example.
You said
You just brought up the 45, and we took a 45.
you said it took an hour.
45 today.
Okay.
Didn't have a morning break because we got
Oh, I
here.
see. He's doing different. He's doing fuzzy math. Did they take an hour or not?
But it's not fuzzy math.
So listen. I don't want to get that. So if there is breaks that happen in the morning, breaks that happen in the afternoon, breaks that happens in the middle, just make sure that they're rigid. You know what I'm saying, guys? Otherwise, these haphazard ones. And you guys know, Tom. Any lunch breaks with Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Sometimes it's 20 minutes in the morning, overtime. It's a half hour for lunch. And
I remember many times, I don't know why they're speaking like this, maybe because Tom is not feeling so well, but these guys would complain about having no lunch break. They just go straight through and they would never stop for lunch, man.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I wanted to hear. Instead, you guys start lying about Tom. Come on. Every now and then, with Tom's lunch was donuts and coffee or something quick. I mean, but you guys, I remember Tom, he used to go right through lunch.
We never
Because you guys
take
ended
1 hour.
early. You guys ended at 3:30, 4 o'clock, right? Because you guys didn't go till 7 or 8 o'clock. So every team, you need to standardize. It's a 12-hour day, and that's why we do. Why do we do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Why do you want to do, especially when the sun is this warm and the sun goes down at 9 o'clock at night? Why do you want to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays?
Set up special projects. So we walk.
Well, what makes sense?
Pass back into each
So,
other.
Jason, what makes sense to you
What
about
about
this
rain
Tuesday,
day,
Wednesday,
that's
Thursday,
all
12 to 14-hour days? What makes sense?
What makes sense about them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mondays and Fridays are for career people, so.
Yeah, we know that, but what
so
makes sense about?
You got
Tuesday
4
and
days off to do your own
Thursday
thing.
is more for work. I mean,
Right, but why? Do you agree or disagree? Should we have 5 days at 8 hours a day, or should we have 3 days at 12 to 14 hours a day? What do you think works better for you? For you as an employee, forget about career.
for me as an employee, I like the 3 12-hour days.
Because what do you do with them? What do you do with the rest of the time? If you weren't in a career mode, what would you do with the other 4 days?
Have a second
I have a
job.
second job, I can pick up
Okay.
side- I pick
Go
up
to your
side-
kid's
Let's pretend you're getting more than
Spend
enough
time with
money.
my family.
Let's pretend that we paid you really
Playing with
well.
your grandkids.
So let's say that you had 3 days, you're getting paid really well, right? Decent benefits and stuff. What would you do with the other 4 days if you were not on a career track?
If I wasn't on a career track, I'd be picking up side work.
Besides side work, I'm trying to hear from
Ride
you
your
saying,
motorcycle, go
I'm
to
gonna
the
ride my
beach.
motorcycle, play with my kids.
I just said my family, spend time with my
Okay, I didn't hear that first part. Good. So, otherwise, now once you're working these 3-day, 12 to 14-hour days, what is Monday and Fridays for in this company?
Knowledge to learn, fix something, to either learn something, fix something, or teach something.
So learn something,
Teach something. Or
teach
fix
something to somebody else. You're gonna get paid. Or fix something because the machine's broken.
Special project.
So isn't that part-time job you're looking for anyway?
Right. Side
So
work.
I want your body Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 12 to 14-hour days. And I also want you to show up on a schedule that is convenient to you on your Mondays and Fridays to come in and learn something to advance your career, teach something on somebody else who wants to advance their career, or fix this stupid truck because something's broken on it. Is that your second part-time job?
We'll work on the perfection of this, but what happens when it's a rain day, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? How does that?
Like tomorrow. Like tomorrow's going to be a rain day.
Right?
What we should have done, and we kicked around a bunch of ideas, and today, why I pulled everybody down here was for a class, not to work. And you're almost done. I didn't put you guys on here to work. I put you guys on here to teach a class. But tomorrow's going to rain. What should we have done today without a class today?
Build, teach.
Today should have been 7 to 7. And tomorrow was what?
Short.
Tomorrow was today.
Right. We
Because of?
swap Monday for Tuesday because of weather.
Because of weather. And where would we have met?
Somewhere.
Up in Lynn, right? Why? Because that's where the school is, right? And there's a bunch of things that need to get done up in Lynn, right? So we can have our class, paint walls,
You're missing the point, though.
paint things. But now, let me throw this last piece. Even though that was an option, tomorrow's going to rain. Why here today?
I thought we were here today. We were taking advantage of the nice weather.
That's one. Why else we here today?
Education, but you're actually on education on his time today because we do that during the week on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. There is time
So
in there for.
I got a fire escape here. I got a fire escape here. I got men from other teams. I got my own team, right? And what am I trying to generalize and do? I'm trying to standardize. So he's getting paid standing here listening to me. He's getting paid standing here listening to me, sitting there listening to me.
Now the big question is, when they go back to Tom, are they going to take this knowledge with them back to Tom? I hope so.
Well, the thing is, the thing is, if you go look on my library and you go back,
Because we're
he already,
combining
he already
smart
learned
tracks.
this from way back when.
If I go learning this stuff and I present it with Tony, this is what I learned over there. He'd be like, get out of here.
Right, well, let's
This is
talk to
like-
Danielle. Danielle, do you remember these classes 7 years ago?
No, there's no way to do it here. The paint.
What about the rest of our stuff?
Yeah.
Our boxes, you remember
All the
from 7
boxes,
years ago? You have videos of these boxes 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think we
You have
do.
videos on how to use machines and grinders? You have video on how to make triangles and spirals? You have videos on that?
Yeah.
So, here's the problem. Even though the videos are made, if there's no implementation and enforcement, what happens? 7 years later, we're still here. And the only guy making noise about it is because what do I want to build?
System.
Something big. Everybody else wants to build what? A job. Well, you still have a job. 7 years later, this is still a job. Still a job. I don't want this to be a job. I want this to be, what's that, plastic? I don't want this to be a job. I want this to be a career. Got it? So with that being the final, I'm going to end it there and you guys can have your comments now. I don't want this to be a job, but it is a job. I want this to be a career so that in your future you can say, you know what, like you just said, if somebody doesn't want to do something that's going to help you grow and feed your kids, you got a baby now, right? Who's number one, you or your baby? That's right. But a year ago, you know who was number one? So the only thing you got to remember is that when you're in a career mode and when you're in a job mode, right? What changes is this. This, 7 years ago, that body's still here, it's the same body. We're trying to change the head a little bit. If you change the head, you can make double or triple your money. Right?
You guys watch yourself. He's gonna get out of here.
Yeah. Any questions? No? All right. Time, as they say, time to go to work. Thank you.